Yes, welcome. That's me saying welcome back to me because I'm back in the country after taking a very treacherous, very long journey. I traveled 24 hours one way, was there only for about the same amount of time in the US at Cupertino just to bring these back to you because I'm going to unbox these for the first unboxings in the country. This is the iPhone XS Max and the iPhone XS. Also have something very interesting which I've been talking about a lot, which is of course the fact that the processor now has become the heart, the soul, the brain, everything in a phone. And we'll take that story forward with some more very interesting phones that have MediaTek processors. But in a sense, we're going to talk about everything Apple. So we'll do an unboxing, we'll do a detailed review, we'll analyze everything that has happened with Apple. Have they done enough for that entire year? And of course, iOS 12. All on the show today.
The first dual SIM iPhones are with us. We unbox the XS and the XS Max and review them and tell you all if they are worthy enough for you to upgrade. Or should you pass this generation of iPhones? It's only obvious to pit the two big boys of the industry against each other, and so we did. We put the Samsung Note 9 against the supersized iPhone XS Max to see who wins and who is the reigning king. And as the new iOS 12 is ready to be downloaded on iPhones, here is everything you need to know about the big upgrade.
Time now to do our unboxing. I'll do both simultaneously. Let's see if I can do one in each hand and if I can actually pull it off. So in terms of the boxing, as you can see, it's pretty much exactly what Apple has. A very clean white front, some image of the phone with some very interesting graphics. This graphic, of course, is the one that was used in the launch itself at all times. And now, let's reveal the phones. So once again, you will see inside is, of course, exactly what it always is. It says, designed by Apple in California. The phones that I've got with me are both the gold phones, but there's a big difference. So let me show you what I mean by that. Just look at this color. I think this is a beautiful gold, very muted. I would almost say it's the classiest gold I've ever seen. But what they've done is the edges are that extra polished stainless steel, and that is almost jewelry-like. So now it's subtle, sophisticated, and yet has just that little bit of glamour that is required. And of course, everything else remains exactly the same. Of course, they're still giving you their headphones because remember, the normal 3.5mm headphones will not work in this. So you either need these or you need a Bluetooth headphone. And then, of course, the charger and the cable, and that's pretty much it. That's all that the box has. Let's talk about the phone now, and of course, let's take off this plastic because, like a lot of people on Sale Guru say, the best part about an iPhone is this feeling. Oh, feels so good. So here's the overall feel of this, and I'm going to talk more about the iPhone XS Max because I think this is the more game-changing phone. The iPhone X to XS is not such a big deal. So this, we've already spoken about color. The cameras have been improved at the back. The overall look and feel is exactly the same as before. As you can see, if you had an old iPhone X, then the XS is exactly the same. Positioning of everything from logo to where it says iPhone to where the dual cameras are, everything remains exactly the same. In the front, the notch remains in exactly the same place, but here's where the difference is, and I'm going to show this to you in both the phones. Notice that the notch on the iPhone XS Max is much smaller. Well, if you've noticed that, then you've noticed it wrong. The notch is exactly the same size, but because the screen is so much bigger, it looks much smaller. In fact, when I played a few games on this, I almost thought that they had truly reduced the notch. It hasn't happened. Other than that, in terms of performance, the A12 BIONIC with its neural network, I know it sounds like a lot, but it actually has a great performance. Some of the other things they've put into the phone, things do move much, much faster, and battery life has been improved. In fact, on the iPhone XS Max, you can get about 1.5 to 2 hours more battery life than you've ever got on any other iPhone. Let's take a look at the rest of what they've done with this phone.
First the notch, now the eSIM. Apple dictates, the world follows. With the iPhone XS and the XS Max, Apple joins the dual SIM bandwagon and upgrades the fresh set of iPhones this year, which are also the most expensive smartphones in the world. But can we really justify the price tag of the new Apples? Is it worth digging deep into your pockets? Let's take a good look at the phones. The big differentiating factor, and actually the only difference between the XS Max and the XS, is the size and the battery. The XS Max, as the name suggests, has a huge 6.5-inch screen, while its sibling, the XS, has a 5.8-inch screen. The Max feels large to hold and use, but if you have used the iPhone 8 Plus before, it will feel slightly familiar. The XS is of the same size as the iPhone X and is very comfortable. In fact, both the phones borrow heavily from the iPhone X design. They have a vertically stacked dual camera at the back and of course sport the famous notch. The back of the phone is all glass with a lovely shiny edge that runs across the phone. We got the gold color for review and loved the muted color with the shiny metallic outline on the phone. Apple excels at display with the iPhone XS Max. The colors are bright, text is clear. It is the Super Retina OLED display that the phone has, and it also supports Dolby Vision. And when we use the fascinating live wallpapers, the phone really came alive. But coming to what makes this phone most relevant for the Indian market. Dual SIM. Yes, following suit with Android phones, Apple has finally come with the dual SIM support, but this extra SIM is not an ordinary one. It is for eSIM. eSIM, which stands for an embedded SIM, is a technology which will eliminate the need to replace physical plastic SIM cards again and again. It will simply need only a compatible network or carrier to offer support. Currently, Airtel and Jio offer eSIM support.
Interestingly enough, that, as we said in our review, is the most important new feature, and that is dual SIM. A lot of people have been asking for it, but this is different from what you thought. The dual SIM is one physical SIM and one eSIM. How does it work and how do people think about it is what we decided to find out.
I think it's kind of a nice feature in sense for people who actually travel a lot, but for those who don't travel much, it doesn't really matter.
That's a great news to hear about, but for me, I'm thinking about the future purpose, as in case if my network doesn't work, then what?
It should be successful with iPhone because this is the first time that iPhone has ever been with a dual SIM technology that, you know, people might just love it or whatever.
It's really exciting to listen that and to know that it has dual SIM, and obviously it gets much more easier for people who travel like continuously here and there. So for them it's like really a bang on thing.
See, it is a pioneering technology, no doubt about that. But again, iPhone with a dual SIM and with a gimmick of saying that it's an eSIM and maybe robbing my bank account for an iPhone.
Apple might just have started the eSIM trend in the country, and only time will tell how it will fare. But moving on to a bit of fun with these phones. The iPhone XS and the XS Max are IP68 rated, which means they are dust resistant and even water resistant. So we decided to not just sprinkle water on the XS Max, but actually put it into a bowl of water. And well, no surprises, it truly is a water resistant phone. But let's come down to what Apple is known best for. Its optics. The camera on the iPhone XS Max and the XS is a much bigger improvement from the iPhone X. On the megapixel front, it's got only 12 megapixel lens like the iPhone X, and well, we know the megapixels don't make for much, so luckily this phone boasts of smart HDR, which honestly gave us great results. The brightness and clarity is spectacular, as are the details on the images. The portrait mode has got a whole host of new modes as well. The big add-on here is that once an image is clicked, the bokeh can be adjusted very simply. We wouldn't say that this is the first time we have seen this feature, but we are glad that the iPhone finally has it. And now for the front shooter. There's a 7 megapixel lens which uses depth information from the True Depth system to support portrait mode. The result is brilliant selfies in good light and low light as well. Well, now for the performance of the iPhone XS Max and the XS. The XS Max offers 3174 mAh battery, while the XS offers a smaller 2658 mAh battery. The RAM on the two phones stands the same at 4 GB. And of course, one of the best things with this year's iPhone is the processor it packs in. This is Apple's A12 BIONIC chipset that is capable of handling up to 5 trillion tasks per second. The A12 BIONIC chipset comes with the next generation neural engine, is built for advanced machine learning in everything from photography to augmented reality, and the GPU is 50% faster. Both the phones hold some of our favorites. The Face ID works well and has been improved from the iPhone X, while with a good camera, bigger screen and better tech, Apple has slapped on a bigger price too. The supersized XS Max starts at 1,09,900 rupees for the 64GB variant, and the iPhone XS is priced at a starting price of 99,900 rupees for the same storage variant.
Now you've seen the prices that we've given you right now, and with the iPhone XS Max at 512GB becoming the most expensive phone ever to be released in India. Of course, I'm not talking about premium designer brands, those phones don't really matter, but as a normal phone, this is now the most expensive phone ever released in the Indian market. I thought we'll find out what is the reaction to this price.
I would buy it for a lakh. I mean, I've been an iPhone user through and through, so I like the technology, I like the brand, and it's a very dependable brand.
I'd rather buy a OnePlus because the camera is also better.
I would prefer investing on gold rather than something which is not tangible for a very long time.
Pricing is a bit too much. It's ridiculous. You cannot, it's something, it's obviously a luxury brand, but it's still, it's a bit too much. It's extremely exorbitant.
It was very expected that this would be at least 1 lakh plus. Although there were some features which are anticipated, so the 1 lakh price tag is bit much.
The Cell Guru verdict. Can these phones be the golden goose for Apple? With some major upgrades, Apple did fine by these stunners. Apple again dictated the future of tech with eSIM and has definitely upped its ante and thrown the gauntlet to its competition and the industry with the iPhone XS and the XS Max. Google and Samsung should be answering soon with the Pixel 3 and the Galaxy S10. At the end, all we will say is while these phones are pricey and there's no justification for 1,45,000 rupees, they are the best iPhones available today. If we had to pick, we loved the XS Max. If you are an iPhone X user, you can hold off for more innovations next year and then switch. But if you are an iPhone 8 or 8 Plus or using models below it, this is a significant upgrade to make.